They say all you need is a good alignment. Today, we're going to find out if that's true.
Tech Time Tuesday.
I'm here today with Eric, and Eric's got a few years of experience with alignments. How long you been doing this?
32 years.
32 years. Okay. All with us, Henderson's lineup.
Yep.
So yeah, appreciate Eric and all his wealth of knowledge. So yeah, we're going to start out talking about just some misconceptions. So first of all, what's a good alignment? What's a bad alignment?
Yeah.
And when might you need more than just a good alignment?
Yeah, it's a pretty good question. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of machines, green is good. That's not always the case. We don't go by those rules. I mean, if you look at the tolerances, like on the Camber up here, they're calling for a half degree on the left front camber, but you can get 3/4 of a degree tolerance either way. So it's enough to definitely give you some tire wear.
Yeah. So let's start from the top here. So we're looking at the specs for, this is an 08 to 17 Ford E-Series van. We see quite a few of these here in the form of like a E450 Class C motorhome. So from the top here, we got our Camber specs. So what is Camber, Eric, and what problems can arise when it's not set correctly?
Well, that's just the in and out, tilt, positive or negative on the top, the bottom of the tire, depending on how you're looking at it. But inside wear, outside wear, too much positive, you're gonna get a lot of outside, negative camber, a lot of inside wear. Tires aren't cheap, so a lot of people, get new tires and come in and get alignment check for sure.
And then in terms of just the way the coach drives too, camber can also cause like a steering pull, right?
Yeah,
if it's not set properly.
It'll usually pull, left or right, depending on where the camber's set. You get toe out, you're gonna get a lot of wander. Toe in, you're gonna scrub the outside of the tires. You can get a lot of toe feather across the tread. You can run your hand one way and feel smooth, go the other way and you can feel like edges. And that's your toe in or toe out, depending on which way,
And that's when you're looking, basically like if you're looking down from above, right? Are the fronts of your tires pointed together? That's toe in. Are they splayed out? Is that toe out?
Toe out, yep.
One thing that's out of alignment is our subscriber base. Over 90% of you guys watching this are not subscribed. So let's fix that problem. Like and subscribe to this video. All right, so here we have our total toe spec. So now you'll see toe described in either inches or degrees, right?
Yeah.
Now what's the general rule of thumb there from inches to degrees?
I think degrees are double with the inches, so it'd be like an 06 in degrees if you were looking at that, which,
Roughly,
yeah, so, and that's a total toe, so, it's kind of hard to get, we go for like an 04, 06, that way you can set both sides equal, but you can see the tolerance here is, 13, so that's a pretty good tolerance for toe, but
right.
we always said about 04, 06, for a total.
So yeah, like on the P32, for instance, just because like they tend to splay out, toe out under load, right?
Yeah.
We run a little more toe in to compensate for that.
Yeah, and all the suspension travel, we did a lot of testing on that with it. The machine hooked up, pull it down with a come along and watch how much toe out it would actually do with just the suspension, all the travel. So that's where we came out with our own toe spec. So.
Right, and that's just an important thing to note in general with independent front suspension versus a straight axle. Mm-hmm. With independent suspension, your wheels are doing this, right, through their arc. So you're getting a lot of camber change, even some toe change, right?
Yeah, especially with a twin I-beam.
Yes,
yeah.
Such as
long
this.
Long arm, short arm, you get more of an up and down travel with a tire, but the twin I-beam, it's almost, like a crescent that tire takes, so.
Right.
And then another thing on this one, the caster, you can see how left to 3.90 with a tolerance of 2.90, which is huge. On this particular vehicle, we found out we run them about 5 degrees on the left side, 5.5 on the right. Just you want a little bit more on the right, just for the crown of the road. It keeps them going a little straighter down the road, where you're not always fighting the right-hand drift. So they return better, they get better road feel. That makes a big difference on the E450s and 350s.
So on caster, so talking about caster, what is caster? How would you describe that?
Like your dad described it years ago, it's like turning the handlebars around on a bicycle and trying to ride it and steer. Turn it back around, it's supposed to be is getting that tire out in front of you. The farther you get that tire out far enough to where it just makes it steer a lot better. On a ball joint style or a kingpin, it's drawing a center line from the top of the kingpin down through the bottom. You want that bottom tilted forward. That's positive caster. back is negative caster or a really low caster does not return to center and doesn't, just the road feel is not that great. End up fighting it a lot. So
yeah, kind of like a shopping cart too, like how that angle kind of makes it self-center. It's sort of like it's almost like as you turn, you're sort of like lifting up the front end, right? It's kind of like the weight of the coach is wanting to center those wheels out. It's how positive.
So.
Right. So so caster. So you talked a little bit about basically running a split, right? So talk a little more. What do we look for there?
The split, depending on the model, the chassis, usually half-degree split, a little more on the right because of the crown. Sometimes, Chevy pickups, we'd run a little bit more because they tend to favor the right. A lot of times, though, we can talk about a pole or a drift. Could be a radial tire pole, steering gear, weight is a huge thing we found out, with motorhomes for drift to the left or right. If we're real heavy loaded on one side, it'll push to the lighter side. So that's why we like to weigh everything too. That really weights can tell you a lot. So. And
that brings up just a really good point, is that alignment, while it's important, it's not everything, right? There could be a lot of other factors at play.
Yeah, that's why we'll rotate a tire left or right and drive it again to see if it still, favors left or right. If it's still not working out, one thing you can do, jack it up, take the load off the tires, start the engine to see if that steering wheel jumps left or right. That'll tell you the pressure valve in the gear is making it go that way. And brings up another good point I was going to talk about, thrust angle. Everybody says, two-wheel alignment's good, but unless you're lining up the rear, making sure that the thrust angle's in there, real nice and straight. You can see Ford's a little high on there, it's, 0.50, 0.25 is about the max we like to see. We'll try to straighten it out, because what happens if the thrust is, say, turned to the left on the rear, it'll make a big sweep. So if you don't check the rear, set the front, it still goes right, you're actually fighting the rear, the thrust angle. So.
Right. And that would be what we'd call dog tracking, right? Like if it's almost like the vehicle's going down the road sideways, right?
Yeah.
Like the rear wheels are pointed that way, then you're having to steer in front to counter that.
Yeah, so. You can drive behind some trucks and see the whole side of the truck, going down the road. It looks like a crab steer, but that's the thrust is just way out. So. Yeah.
So that's really, really good points. Thanks, Eric, for covering all that. I'm thinking of one problem chassis is like the Freightliner XC. They always tend to favor the right.
Yeah. I've had a few that you let go of the wheel and then a 2-second count, you're off in the gravel, and we end up fighting those once in a while. But we have to go in and change the thrust. But could be weight also. Again, could be a steering gear issue, but a lot of times it's the weight is pushing it that hard. So,
and a lot of times it's kind of just favoring road crown, right? And that's where we have found that steering control, like Safety Plus, is a really good way to counter that as well,
Safety
right?
Plus, yeah. And we'll try to make sure the caster does have a good split in it, a little more on the right before we do Safety Plus. That way, you're not just masking something up real heavy. That way, Safety Plus works a lot better left and right instead of just one direction. So.
Right. Yeah, that's good. So that covers good alignment, bad alignment. We talked about camber, some problems that can happen if your camber's out. Toe, we talked about if you're too much. So let's go back to toe a little bit. So if you're too much towed out, what kind of problems?
Yeah, it just tends to wander a lot more. It'll pick up the ruts a lot more and just kind of shoot left or right, kind of wander all around. Then of course tire wear, which they're not, like I said, they're not cheap on the motorhome. So
if you're too much toe in, typically it's going to be more just tire wear.
Yeah, it'll be more tire wear. Some coaches will drive a little better with a little more toe in than what they call for, but some customers do want us to set them in a little bit more just because it does drive a little better, but because they're not worried about the tires wearing out, they usually age out. So as long as it's not towed in too far.
What are some of the questions you've heard, or people that have talked to you and thought they had an alignment problem when they really different? What's an example of one of those?
Well, I think the best one is they have a vibration at 50 or 55 and think they need alignment. So alignment's not going to take care of a vibration. The only old school thing, maybe a caster shimmy on some of the older trucks, but yeah, it's it's one of the. We get a lot of phone calls with I got a vibration, I need alignment. So we just say no, we'll drive it, check the tires first, and go from there. So.
Right. Yeah. Or like, yeah, this vibration when I hit the brakes, I need alignment.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's probably a brake issue.
Yeah.
Or, oh man, there's been some other good ones too.
Steering wheel's crooked.
Yeah.
On a non-adjustable drag link, they think they need alignment because the steering wheel's off, but that's not gonna. Some circumstances it will. If the toe is way out, it'll come in a little bit better, but it doesn't always work out. But yeah.
Right. With like an IFS, you can center the steering wheel. You know, adjust one tie rod in, the other one out. But
Yeah.
on a straight axle though, you're
Straight axle of a non-adjustable drag link, you usually got to pull the steering wheel, move in a spline, or sometimes you can do it down the steering gear on the input shaft, on the steering shaft. So.
right. Yeah, the Ford F53 chassis, really common culprit there. It doesn't come with an adjustable drag link from the factory, so we do replace quite a few of those with an adjustable aftermarket unit from Redlands.
Yeah.
What about, let's say somebody is just really having a hard time driving their coach in the winds, passing trucks. They really think they need alignment. What would you tell them?
The wind's the biggest enemy for a motorhome. But yeah, that's where make sure depend on the chassis, front and rear track bars, steering control, safety plus is going to help. We can check the alignment they want, but with the wind it's just difficult. A lot of times a lot of people just say they parked and wait it out.
Right.
So
yeah, if they're way out of alignment, like getting a lot of tire wear, then sure, maybe you're towed way out. You got a problem there. Weights would be another one. Always recommend people weigh their coach front rear axle individually. Make sure they got a good
ratio.
Good ratio.
Front to back.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And heavy on one side, that tells us a lot on alignment for, like I said, it'll push to the lighter side. So.
Right.
It's weights can tell you a lot. So.
Yep. Well, thanks, Eric. I appreciate all the input. Hopefully we covered some common questions you guys may have. If not, please let us know below in the comments what other things you'd like to address. Let us know if you think there's anything we missed. Look forward to hearing about that. And till next time, want to wish you safer and happier driving. Thank you.
Tech Time Tuesday.
All right. I'm here today with Eric.
I'm just trying to think of what I'm going to talk about.
Right. I'll lead us into something. Make me nervous.
Yeah.